Hello, this is Paloma. I come back with the story the sky is telling for the next few days. Beautiful family, welcome. Well, we are in it. The new moon in Tauro. I guess I know it's easy to say, but not exactly easy to go through because we've been talking about thresholds of fear, integrating shadow, radical changes, decisions, and a very high dose of intensity. So I want to take a moment to honor you and your courage and your willingness to go through it with consciousness, with awareness, and with an open heart. Through the intensity, allowing the transformation to transform you and change to change you. Perhaps even through pain or apprehension, attachment, fear of these parts of us that truly would rather stay as they are than leap into the unknown, which is what is required of us. But you are doing it, so I see you. We are doing it. This sky is sort of disintegrating some aspect of our identity, like stripping parts of us that are filled with shame and guilt, really, and also showing us the strength of our own depth. I think the miracle truly emerges when we give ourselves the time and space to just feel, to just stay with it, to just be with it, until the fighting, until the fighting ceases, and we accept. I think every spiritual practice ultimately aims for peace, and peace comes after acceptance, I believe. So Tauro is about embodiment. There's the invitation to come back, and once again, back into our bodies and the present moment. So we can, witness and truly be present to our sensations, to the waves of emotions, and to empty ourselves continuously. The thing is, there is discomfort in this sky, in this narrative. It's really a mastering of discomfort, I would say. And we usually tend to, when these uncomfortable sensations arrive, we tend to brace and to contract even more. And we don't allow then for whatever needs to be processed to be. The body knows, I believe, if we gently go back to our bodies know how to metabolize all of these very big, complex energies. But it is at a natural rhythm. And if we observe the rhythm of nature, we will see that there is no rush, there's no hurry, nothing is urgent, really. And nevertheless, we are kind of trapped there in the fight and flight response because we live in a sense of urgency and a big fear of scarcity. And this does not allow our body to go back to a baseline of regulation and calm. It's not about always being calm, but it is about having a baseline of calmness from which to move and permutate to whatever life brings, all that life is, I would say. So Tauro is about stability and security, and we find this when we walk or just live in a natural rhythm. In the sensuality of life and the body as well. Our senses, abundance, prosperity, discernment, these are all valid intentions to align ourselves with this new moon and the energy for the beginning of May. I would just mention there is a lot to unpack in terms of this discernment energy, because sometimes I see it as a disguise of a sort of hedonism. And also the subject of abundance and prosperity. Perhaps we are discovering there is a new sense of prosperity, not entirely or only linked to material prosperity. Because sometimes we are sort of disguising some of our insecurities or trauma by, approaching this theme of manifestation in a magical weekend express manifestation workshop, and it doesn't really work like that. The thing is, we are being confronted with delusions, collective delusions, especially in the realm of spiritual and just human development. So I don't think we can cultivate a genuine nutrition for our souls with fast food, if you know what I mean. And we have to go through the process with as much grace, compassion, and patience that we can summon. There is no depth in our transformation if we keep it in the appearances or just the very first layers of it. The work is deep, and it's felt, it's embodied, It happens in the intimacy of our most, of relationships. And it isn't that noisy, really. It's from an honesty and a humbleness or a humility that we truly embody when we have faced the desire for control and given up control. I think this is a reward this sky announces as well. True empowerment. The power that comes from relinquishing power. And by this I mean the false power that comes just as a compensation for our pain. So I think something is slipping from our hands like water, and we can no longer hold on as tight or possess with this astrology. And this is the possession axis also, Tauro Scorpio. So I was thinking about the word of possession, and like when it is related to property, and how, we have this idea that we possess one another or our stuff, our things, or our land. And I really don't know at what moment we started telling ourselves and believing this story. And also the word possession speaks to me to being possessed. And not necessarily by something other than you, but by our own compulsions, desires, and emotions. And this shows up in this sky as well. As I said, it is an astrology of empowerment, no doubt. True power that is not about reacting from this non-integrated shadow that possesses us, or from the limiting belief that shrinks us, or the shame that is diminishing our light. I speak of responding with the dignity of a human self, with a divine right to reclaim joy, to reclaim belonging, to reclaim autonomy, and to reclaim creativity and just our light. What I actually like of all of this complexity in the sky is that the invitation of Tauro season, it's really to simplify, to just notice what there is, what we already are, what we already have, to be thankful, to appreciate the moment, to really lose the fear of the ordinary and find peace in a daily life that savors life and enjoys moments in this moment that we have chosen to be incarnated in the spectacular garden that is our planet. So yes, there is a purpose of retrieving our I am, the I am that I am, like rehabilitating our energy and our frequencies. But what for? I would say it is to be of service. Everything like truly becomes meaningful when we are in service to this divine power and we allow this power to flow through our hearts and through our authenticity. So the ruler of this moment is Venus, exalted in Pisces. She is in the school of service, of compassion and love, next to Saturn. So I would say this is a reminder. We have a spiritual responsibility and we ought to align our lives with it. The North Node is there also, just saying everything that's going on is just completely fated to happen right now for you to remember you. It is a very powerful activation, this triple conjunction, that I would say at the end is asking, what do you commit with love? Or where is your commitment to love? With this, of course, I'm speaking to this grand square that we are experiencing. There's Lilith, there's Pluto, there's Mars, and there's the Sun and the Moon today as well, in this like very crescendo of the symphony. So we can actually arrive to an honest and maybe simple intention. Perhaps it's not with more strength, but with more truth. Perhaps it's not with more effort, but with more flow. Perhaps it's not with more noise, and it's with more silence, and definitely with a lot more calmness. So I hope this sowing of the seed, whatever it is for you, allows you to be more present, and from there to experience more pleasure as well. So having said this week, well, we are in the energy of this new moon. A very interesting thing is Mercury will come out of shadow, so he's going to start working in new degrees of the zodiac this week, and I think this yeah, encourages us to have new conversations, interactions, like to come out of the loops with a new understanding. It's not immediately, but through the beginning of May, the tension will start giving in, so we can start actually taking the new steps. And I would highlight the word new steps, because it is towards new directions. I would insist we ought to, I don't know, just be present for ourselves with a lot of tenderness and trust while we take these new steps. You don't have to have the whole, like the whole journey ahead clear. No one has it. I mean, we are all at the dawn of a new chapter of our lives. So I know this can be challenging, but it is also full of hope. There is something that is most certainly available, which is the will to change, the determination to move forward, and the courage and the passion necessary. So at the end of April, on the 30th of April, Venus is going to re-enter Aries. She's still on her after retrograde shadow. She's going to move out of these by, I think, 15th of May. But, well, nevertheless, Venus entering Aries is just more of this fire energy of just audacity and bravery. I would invite you to commune with her. She's the morning star right now, and she can be seen at the sunrise, at dawn. And I believe you and I and all of us, we are the dawn of a new earth, of a new era. So yeah, May begins this week as well, if you can believe it. So May, I feel it as a very, very different energy than all of the months before in this 2025 year. I will not say it won't be moved, like there won't be any sudden challenges or energies, but I do feel it's different. I actually think the beginning of May, even though we still feel this tension that I mentioned at the beginning, it is giving in. It's sort of like a moment to integrate, because this new moon is also the ending of eclipse season. So let's cultivate that, which is called walking in beauty, in these first weeks while we settle our energy in this embodiment and this presence. May we go through our days with reverence and truly open ourselves to the opportunities, because I do read a month with openness, with opportunities, but it requires us just saying yes, no? Like truly participating of the energy. And as soon as Venus enters Aries, by the 2nd of May, she's going to join Neptune in Aries for the first time in her life. So they have been meeting, doing conjunctions because of her retrograde movement, but they were in Pisces. So this is the third one, but it's really the first one in Aries and the first one for us. So this new vision, this new dream, this is really the, I don't know this word in English, precursor, well, the beginning or the new dream or the new vision for this new time that is ready to start being downloaded into the earth through you. Neptune is actually the higher octave of Venus, so they both represent love. When I say love, I don't mean this very romantic or romanticization. Does that word exist? I hope so. I think that limiting the idea or the concept of love to romantic love really, precisely that, it limits the actual strength of this, which is the cohesive force of everything. I mean, love as the primary ingredient with which we create, the creator strength and force, the intrinsical nature, the original nature of everything. I think actually love might be the wildest energy, because it is the most natural, original one. And then in Aries, which is the ignition, the beginning of everything, I think it's exciting. I still believe we ought to be attentive to too much illusion or idealization or confusion because of them together. But I would say these are just ways in which we still, aware or not, choose to distract ourselves. It is just that. These are forms of distraction that pull us out of the now. And when everything in the now is vibrant, alive, and ready for you to manifest through your beauty. So we can choose to be distracted, or we can choose to create. With Venus here in Aries, I think there's no what would be a good phrase for that in English? Like, there's no going around the subjects. It's quite frontal and directive energy. She's answering to a Mars in Leo, still pretty warmed up from the opposition to Pluto. So this is still holding through this week. So I would say, let this fire purify us. And also, this looks like an alignment that speaks to inspiration in action, no? Also, Mars is going to move out of shadow now, so we're going to feel a lot freer to move and to take action after 7 months of the journey with Mars here. So yeah, exciting time. As I said, the beginning of the month, I would say, as we are closing eclipse season and opening to these new narratives through Tauro, allow yourself to arrive, allow your parts to settle and to integrate as well. By the time we get to the 12th of May, when we have this full moon in Scorpio, I mean, full moons in Scorpio are always intense. This is like the intense full moon of the year, most intense in terms of the archetype, because it is Scorpio. Yet, I do see this full moon, I mean, Urano is there, like sort of saying goodbye to his journey in Tauro. So he's going to make himself felt and seen, I would say. He's gonna show his strength somehow, and we will have this Sun-Urano conjunction, the last one in Tauro. So this is gonna shake up things a little bit. We've been through this since 2018, so this is also, I would say, a moment to reap. That's the word. Some of the allowance that we've had towards changing things that we thought would never change in our lives, and also shaking it up doesn't seem so dramatic, hopefully. After so many things that we've been going on, it's like, just shake it up, you know. So we'll see. And yeah, the last part of the month, when the Sun enters Gemini, seems very exciting and stimulating because of the Gemini circumstances. We're going to see a new moon speaking with Pluto in Aquarius. Oh, I forgot to mention this. Pluto is going to start his retrograde motion on the 4th of May. The thing is, I don't do a lot of like mundane astrology, and I do believe Pluto in Aquarius retrograde has to do a lot more with the collective energy, because he's going to be stationary throughout the month. I think it's a lot more subtle in terms of personal astrology, but he's there telling us his story, no? And yeah, I will leave you with a couple inquiries or reflections, like, what decisions can I take from a place of authority, sovereignty, from within, as the author or the hero of my life? And also, what beliefs about power need to be transformed in order for me to fully trust my connection to source? So yeah, I think that's what I have for today. Yeah, that's it. So thank you so much for spending time with me, sharing space with me. If you like this content, and you can share and subscribe and comment, I'm really happy to read your comments and to, you know, share a little bit more. Yeah, have a beautiful adventure. Blessings. Bye.